that is very important because right now, China is offering rehabilitation centers, construction of rehabilitation centers to the Philippines. Dapat tingnan ho natin dahil ang term ko nga doon para tayong ginigisa sa sariling mantika natin. My last question, Mr. Chairman, direct inmates. Ano po yung drug trading layers diyan sa NBP? Sino po ang mataas? Sinong contact nila? Sino yung sa gitna? Sino yung sa baba?
Can we ask just two of the resource persons we have to answer, Your Honor? Because if he will be asking again all the five witnesses, then it will take us another...
I agree, Mr. Chair. Itanong lang mo natin si Jojo Baligad.
Thank you.
Pakiulit po yung tanong.
Ano po yung tingin yung drug trade layers, yung layer? Sa taas, sinong pinakamataas? At sinong mga contact niya? Saan ang galing yung mga drugs? Sino yung sa gitna? Sino yung sa baba? Kasi importante po ito dahil hindi lahat ay may contact sa drug lords or sources. So, anong layer po yan?
Pangalan po ba ang gusto niyong malaman?
Kahit hindi na po pangalan. Posisyon na lang.
Siguro, Commander po. Commander pababa sa mga mayor.
Commander tapos mayor.
Opo.
Yung presidio at saka yung karsel.
Opo.
Mr. Chair, I think yun lang po yung aking point. Gusto ko lang dagdagan, wala akong enough time. Na-mention ko po yun dahil ang pinakamataas dito, according to my own, ay ito po yung Chinese drug lords. Sila po yung may contact ng malalaking bulk sa labas. Silang may contact. Ang next layer dyan ay yung mga commanders. Sa case nito, si Herbert Culanco at saka si JB Sebastian. Sa dalawang grupo. And then sa baba, ito na po yung mga distributor o mga peddler sa baba.
Tama po yun, sir.
Na-mention ko yan dahil even if ang mga commanders nandyan, tanggalin mo yung mga Chinese drug lord, walang contact yung mga commander na yan. That's all, Sir Chair.
Thank you so much. The next is Honorable Rocamora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I proceed with my interpellation, I would like to just comment on the earlier comment of the Chair regarding the nature of this proceeding. It is correct that this is not a judicial proceeding. Is it even quasi-judicial proceeding? It is simply an inquiry into the facts to help us in our legislation. Facts. Yes, facts. We need to get the facts for us to properly legislate. But how do we propose to get those facts? We need evidence. And how do you propose that we be guided in admitting and weighing these facts? There we go. We need to go back to our rules of court. Even in a suppletory matter, we have to have a modicum of observance of these rules, at least to give this proceeding some sort of, how would you say that, to from being labeled as kangaroo. This is not court, committee. So that is my suggestion. Let me proceed now to my first question. I would like to address the same to Director Benjamin Magalong. My question is to your comment to the suggestion of my good neighbor, Congressman Teves, regarding raids on these detention facilities. you said that there need to be a coordination, but most of all, there must be trust. Correct. Okay. Trust. After your earlier revelation, immediately came to my mind the possible response of the other side. Let me preempt that. Did it not occur to you that there might have been some issues of trust on the part of those who proceeded with the raid?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, possible po. Saan po rin nila kami.
Now, my next question is, how would you rate the effect, or rather the result of the raid that was conducted?
I just would like to be very honest with you, Your Honor. I would say it is a very successful raid considering the fact that they were able to confiscate huge amount of drugs, money, firearms, and all other contrabands, Your Honor. The only frustration that I felt was that
Excluded.
why were some personalities inside the MPP not included when they were not included in the special detention in the NBI, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Again, going back to facts, we need facts to establish proper legislation. I would like to ask the witnesses, let me start with Hans Anton Tan. Okay. Now, it appears from your sworn statement that you would like to connect this Jose Adrian Dera or Jad to Secretary. So in paragraph 3, you said that he introduced himself as a nephew and close in security of Secretary Laila de Lima. In paragraph 8, you said we lost contact with Jad just right after the election. Now, Jad is reported to be with Senator Laila de Lima. Do you know these statements to be facts?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Of course, you would know that he. Okay. How about that he is already with Senator Laila de Lima after the election?
Yes, I do.
How do you know this?
We had some representative from. Earlier, about 2 months ago, we had some. Pakilakas lang po, pakilakas lang. I said earlier, about 2 months ago, we had like a solicitor, Solgen went to see us, and this was said to him, and he did verify that Judge is still with us in the Senate.
Is still
Yeah, with the senator. Part of her staff. Part of her staff, yeah.
what's Solgen?
Yeah.
Do you know the name of this person?
Jose Galida? Yeah.
So you were told. You don't know this for a fact. I mean, personally.
Well, I was in Building 14 when Jose Galida came to see us, so.
Okay. I'll go to the next witness, Jaime Pacho. Again, from your statement, it would appear that the purpose here is simply to show that you were asked through this JB Sebastian to help DOJ Secretary Laila De Lima to come up with money in connection with her intention to run as senator in the 2016 election. Again, you stated here, sinabi na bigyan siya bilang tulong sa paghahanda sa pagtakbo sa pagka-senador. I'll stop there. You were only told that Senator De Lima asked them for help.
That would be your last question, Your Honor.
I need to get the answer first.
Okay, salamat po.
Sir, hindi po si Senator De Lima po ang kumausap sa akin, kundi si JB Sebastian po, sir.
It was Sebastian who told you that De Lima is asking for help. JB Sebastian, ang niyangyo nimo nga tabangan si Secretary De Lima itong panahon na.
Opo, sir.
Okay. Actually, I need to ask the other witnesses, but basically it is nature that these statements connecting Laila De Lima to these activities there appear to be hearsay. Of course, I understand the comment of the chair earlier that this could be admitted as relevant statements and taken together could be strong evidence. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is the Honorable Toby Chanco.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Alam niyo ho, I always had this hypothesis when I was mayor na yung mga tatakot makulong yan eh. Isa lang talaga kinakatakutan yan, yung mapatay. And now, based on the testimony of all the witnesses, lumalabas talaga na hindi sila natatakot makulong dahil tuloy pa rin yung kanilang illegal activities at lumalaki pa yung kanilang network. Ibig sabihin, pag nakulong sila, mas madami pa sila nakikilalang ibang kriminal. So yung dating kidnapping lang ang racket, napupunta sa drugs, napupunta sa iba-iba, lumalaki pa yung negosyo nila. And now we see that the incentive of them growing their business is para pag nasa loob sila ng kulungan o ng National Bilibid Prison, makakuha sila ng special benefits, which again will grow their business further. So ibig sabihin, Mr. Chairman, yung pagkakulong sa kanila ay baliwala. Kaya sila kinulong para mahinto yung criminal activities nila, lalo lumalaki yung criminal activities nila. So tamang-tama ho yung ating resolution na final ng ating mga kasama na mahinto. That's why we're doing this investigation in aid of legislation, is mahinto yung criminal activities inside that they are doing, which they also do outside kahit nakakulong sila. So ang question ko ho kay Secretary, nandiyan pa ho ba? If I may address the
Yeah, go ahead.
Secretary, mukhang talagang gumanda yung sitwasyon doon sa loob magmula nung inassign nyo yung SAF. But yesterday, parang nasabi nyo na 3 months lang ho yung SAF doon. So what will happen after 3 months?
Totoo po yun with respect nyo talagang gumanda. Talagang sabi sa akin yung mga tumatawag yung mga ordinaryong preso. Salamat po sa ginawa ninyo sapagkat pantay-pantay na kami ngayon. Wala na sa aming mayaman, walang mahirap. Anyway, kasi po nung unang going to the second question, nung una pong ilagay namin, makipag-usap kami kay General Bato ng PNP, nanghiram kami ng SAF sapagkat sa tingin po namin, Wag namang mamasamain ng lahat ng mga gwardiya o lahat ng mga NBP officials, talagang napakarami, napakataas ng percentage na sila ay talagang tainted with drug money. Kasi makikita mo riyan yung sumisweldo lang ng 11, 12, 13,000 pero naka-brand new yung mga ng Vios or kaya yung mga lower lang naman. Pero palagay ko kahit anong gawin mo sa 13,000 na sweldo mo, talagang hindi ka rin makakabili ng brand new. Anyway, doon po sa katanungan, kinausap po namin ang CPNP noon at sinabi namin, baka naman pwede na kami ay makahiram kami ng SAP troopers, mga 300 SAP troopers, para sila munang gumardya because our plan is we have to change everybody. Yung mga NBP na nandoon na nagbabantay, ang gagawin namin, naalisin namin sila, magkakaroon sila ng re-education, retraining, at siguro kung anong counting seminar tungkol sa anti-corruption. At kala namin 3 months. Pero meron din kaming understanding noon na alam namin na pwede rin makurap kahit mga sapyan. So talagang pinagbawalan ni General Bato na makiusap, parang walang touch, hindi sila maaaring makipag-ugnayan sa mga inmates. Kasi talagang laki ng perang nagkakalakal dyan sa loob. So apparently, up to now, talagang ang SAP ay hindi natin masasabi nating talagang napaka-excellent ang ginagawa nila. So malapit na mag-3 buwan po yun. We are planning to ask an extension to General Bato because the initial plan is pagkatapos ng SAP, baka nga sila may marong makurap, hihingi naman kami ng tulong from the military, specifically itong special forces, mga Marines. So, but maganda naman ang performance ng SAF. As a matter of fact, the strength of their unit was increased to 400 SAF ngayon. At kaya yun po ang the status ngayon ng troopers. We are going to ask for an extension.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow up this question, agree ho ako sa inyo na talagang sa tagal ng mga jail guards diyan, hindi naman ho mangyayari itong mga to kung hindi magmula sa ibaba hanggang sa taas. Talagang kasabot na sila. Sinasabi niyong re-education, I beg your indulgence, Mr. Secretary, sa tingin ko hindi ho ma-re-educate yung mga yun. Kasi ang tagal na nilang ginagawa ito So ang tanong ko ho, what is the fastest way for us to overhaul the jail guards na matanggal na talaga yung mga hindi ayos na jail guards, mapalitan ng bago. Pero pag yan ho ginawa natin, konti lang talaga matitira doon. But I think that is the solution. Hindi naman kasi pwede, we have to commend the staff. Pero hindi naman pwedeng binabantayan na nila yung preso, binabantayan pa nila yung jail guard. So ano ho ang pinakamabilis na paraan para ma-overhaul at matanggal yung mga hindi ayos at mapatino natin yung mga jail guard doon?
Opo, sapagkat yung mga jail guards natin are protected by the civil service. Tapos napakaliit pa ng kanilang sweldo. Ang kanilang sweldo sa unang pasok mo mga grade 5. Kaya as a matter of fact, it's less than half of the entry level sa police. Kaya dapat siguro itas natin ang sweldo, ipantay natin ang sweldo para sa police, sa kapulisan. At dapat ay yung pangako ni President Duterte na dodoblehin, dapat kasama ang jail guards, hindi lamang mga kapulisan. At po dyan, dapat ginawa, pero hindi pa natin magawa sapagkat nagsosolo pa si General Asuncion, the only presidential appointee sa Duterte administration sa ngayon. Wala pa po yung dalawang directors na dapat kasama niya at katulong niya. Dapat po siguro yung mga guards na yan i-assign sa mga different penal farms natin para yung malayo sila dito sa NBP. Pero alalahanin po natin na pag yun ang ginawa natin, ay meron din pong problema sa drugs sa mga natin. Kaya talagang napakahirap. Kanina nga po, meron ditong parang proposal na sinasabi na gawin nating puro confidential appointment ng mga jail guards para they could be replaced anytime. O kaya mga job orders lang, pero alam natin na maraming problema pa rin. Kaya tang sa akin, para mawala yung drogang yan, linisin po natin 100% dapat walang cellphone. Bumili po tayo ng jammer at meron nang nag-donate sa akin which could control the cellphones dun sa sa building 14. Nandyan lang at baka may-release na anytime. So we could say that yung mga nandun sa building 14 were the highest profile, high profile inmates are housed, ay hindi na makagamit talaga ng cellphone and they could not transact business. But we need these jammers dun po sa na mas malaki. So, but before we could use this, dapat siguro, as I've said before, na amyenda natin yung Republic Act 4200. Dapat ibigay na, ilagyan natin one of the exceptions that they could be, the use of the jammer should be legalized or the use of the intercept. Bawal naman talaga sa kanila yan pero dapat para mapigilan natin yan, dapat yung ating jammer is with intercept, meaning to say, ma-intercept natin yung kanilang telephone communication as well as mga text communication. Kaya it needs the cooperation of both houses of Congress bago natin ang drug transactions. Isa lamang po ang talagang solution dyan. Take out all cell phones, completely stop ang illegal drug operations sa NBP.
Last question, Mr. Secretary. Pwede ho bang maka-request sa DOH? Yun na yung solusyon no? Yung solusyon, madami kayong proposal tungkol dun sa mga jail guards. Pwede bang maka-request na mag-form kayo siguro na isang task force o isang team sa DOJ that will recommend to Congress actions to be taken dito naman sa mga jail guards na to. Kung ano talaga ang dapat gawin ng Kongreso para mapabuti ng mga jail guards natin at hindi sila malesen yung temptation nila at magserbisyo silang mabuti at siguraduhin maayos yung pagpatakbo ng ating mga kulungan. Yun lang po, Mr. Secretary.
We could do that, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next is Honorable Pacquiao.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to each and everyone. I would like to reiterate the question of the chairman yesterday regarding the speech of the Senator De Lima that yesterday she delivered her privilege speech. She alleged that the consent of the witnesses in today's hearing were obtained by force, coercion, and intimidation. I would like to hear from our witnesses if it is really true. Kung totoo ba talaga na kayo pinilit para pumunta dito, mag-testify against her. Kayo daw nagsisinungaling para matiin siya. Gaano po ito katotoo? Any po.
As I've said, galing po ako ng Zamboanga Penal Farm Colony sa San Ramon Prison po. Ako po ay inmate teacher po doon at reformation staff. Hindi rin po ako nakabartolina nahihingi ng pabor para sa kalayaan na ako libre sa kahit anuman. So ang ibig sabihin ko po dito, purely kung ano ang naiintindihan ko at nalalaman ko sa mga kabulastugang nangyari sa Bureau of Corrections involving yung mga nababanggit po ninyo. At saka ang Bucor OIC Rafael Marcos.
Ang ibig po ninyong sabihin, si Senator De Lima yung nagsisinungaling at hindi kayo?
Siya, maaaring siya nagsisinungaling. Dahil ako, voluntaryo ako nagpunta rito para nagpasabi na gusto kong lumahok dito sa investigasyon na ito. Dahil kung tutuusin, na-transfer ako doon sa San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm. Wala akong violation, Your Honor. Wala akong violation, Your Honor. Meron sa Bureau of Corrections, sa loob ng maximum prison compound, na nahulihan ng baril. At siya ay pinakialaman niya ang trabaho ng mga nanghuli sa tao niya. Ito ay sa katauhan ni Herbert Colanco. Pinagbantaan niya ang pagpapatayin ng mga gwardya sa pamumuno ng team leader na si Tony De Castro, PG Castro. Ang tanong, ano ang ginawa ng opisina matapos sa mga pangyayari na yon? Walang aksyon na naintindihan o narinig pagkatapos noon. Pero ako, na walang violation, tinapon sa San Ramon Prison. Hindi ako kasabwat eh. Di ako pwede sumakay sa mga laro nila eh. Ngayong may investigasyon dito, alam ko ang mga pangyayari, balik ako, magte-testify ako at nag-testify ako, Your Honor.
Kung sakali po na matutuloy ang pagsampa ng kaso laban kay De Lima, kayo po ba ay willing na testify doon sa court?
Then I will, Your Honor.
Mas maganda na yung klaruhin natin for record purposes, Mr. Chairman, para na sa ganon ay maliwanag hindi lang sa atin lahat, kundi sa lahat din ng mga nakikinig. Dito sa inyong salaysay, Mr. Riza, on page 3, number 13, basahin ko po ulit. Ako po ay humihingi ng tulong sa aking magulang at mga kapatid para maibigay ang mahininging halaga ni Ragos sa akin. Sa pamamagitan ng aking kapatid na si Hera ay naabot ang nasabing halaga noong December 19, taong 2012. Dagdag ni Hera, sabi daw ni June Ablin, na ayon kay Ragos, susunduin daw ako mula sa medium security compound at ihahatid sa maximum security compound bilang patunay na natanggap niya ang pera. Noong December 22, taong 2012, po ang pangakong pagsundo sa akin ni Ragos at Ablin. Kung kaya't siguradong natanggap ni Ragos ang 200,000 piso na hinihingi niya. Meron po ba tayong willing po ba yung kapatid mo na mag-execute ng affidavit o testimony doon sa ng pera doon kay Ragos?
Actually, pwede ko pong sabihin yun sa kanya. Pwede po nating itanong sabihan siya. Kasi ang kapatid ko, as of this moment, nagsasuffer po siya sa stage 4 cancer. Your Honor. Pero ako, alam ko naman na nakakasama namin sa witness si Agent June Ablin at saka si Deputy Director Rafael Ragos. I think June Ablin is competent to corroborate with my statement linking Ragos about the aforementioned hingian o bayaran for my transfer sa original confinement ko sa maximum security compound. Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Akin pong kasunod ng katanungan doon po sa ating kagalang-galang na Secretary. We understand itong hearing po na ito ay in aid of legislation. Ano po bang ating mga recommendation upang may address yung problema ng ating National Bilibid Prison? Kasi para po maintindihan din ng ating lahat.